Hello fragrance lover, welcome back to my channel. I'm Clémence and we're talking about fragrance. We're gonna talk about cinema, music and fragrances. Okay, so before we start the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see my face a bit more and talk more about fragrance and everything, and join me on Instagram as well. So I chose 20 iconic men in this video that are wearing fragrances. These are my choices, so you will see a bit more maybe like what I like and things like that. So the first one I wanted to talk about is a guy that we all know, and this is more like, I'm gonna mix between modern and really old kind of style, but this one, I mean, who doesn't know Johnny Depp? And Johnny Depp is really famous for wearing the Dior Homme range. If you've seen my video before about the 5 fragrances I love the most on men, you will see that Dior Homme Intense is one of my favorite. It's got that little sensitivity to it because you've got like a bit like of flowers, like iris inside, lavender. So it's very soothing, slightly leathery as well. And I thought Johnny Depp really represents that because it's got that little sensitivity, genuine sensitivity. Even if it's the Sauvage ambassador, I find it quite interesting that it shows Dior Homme. I do 100% love more a Dior Homme than a Sauvage, that's for sure. I don't know if you've seen Sleepy Hollow, it's definitely my favorite movie from him. Actually, every movie with Tim Burton as a filmmaker and Johnny Depp.
Sent from New York to investigate murder in Sleepy Hollow.
I think they are the best. It's a bit like creepy and mysterious and magical, and I just love this atmosphere and really suit that kind of fragrances, like brave but a bit shy and sensitive, which I thought really represents it. I do also love Edward Scissorhands. I don't know if you've seen that. There was Sweeney Todd, Dark Shadows, Alice in Wonderland, Finding Neverland, not by Tim Burton, but love this movie, and Corpse Bride, and I really think that it really suits him. But you will see after, like, all the fragrance kind of like have a link with their wearer, which second, and we stay in the cinema because it's again an actor, and again like really like modern one, as it's Leonardo DiCaprio. So this one I was expecting a fragrance like very seductive, warm, opulent, because it's quite like well known to collectioning ladies, like really. So I was expecting, you know, that kind of fragrance, like a bit alpha man or something like that. And he's actually wearing Eau d'Adrien, which is from Annie Goutal. I don't know if you know this brand, but I do really love it because it's got that vintage, ultra luxury kind of style. The bottles are really cute. And this one, Eau d'Adrien, smells a bit like a cologne, so it's very citrusy. You can... Like, I think they used to say that it was a love letter to Italy, like very romantic. And there's also a touch of cypress, so it gives like a slightly masculine notes, but it's very unisex. So when I've seen that, I was like very surprised. I was like, oh, okay, like, why not?
You see, I'm Gatsby.
The third one is Ian Fleming. So I don't know if you know Ian Fleming, but he's a British writer, and he's the writer of the James Bond books. I do love a James Bond movie and the books. I don't know, it's just British charms, and it really represents Ian Fleming as well. It was really like that cliche of the British, very like classy, without doing too much, you know. And I was expecting that kind of vibe, you know, like a British brand, something classy, timeless, elegant. And he actually wearing Florist number 89, which I thought that was perfect because it's a London-based brand, and also it's really matching because It's like lemon sandalwood, so it's not too harsh, a bit sharp at the beginning. So really a cool fragrance, like, I mean, not cool, like very classy. Then my fourth one is Brad Pitt. So I'm not the massiest fan of Brad Pitt, but I saw, you know, if I want to talk about modern iconic men, you definitely have to talk about that. And my favorite movie personally with Brad Pitt is, what's it called? Fight Club. I mean, it was amazing, this one. But yeah, I was expecting something very brutal fragrance, you know, probably like a designer and a bit like more common. I don't want to be, you know, but he's not the most expressive man, so I was expecting something a bit more, you know, normal. And I was right, because he's wearing Armani code from Armani, but it's not that really common designer, because Armani code's got really a DNA that really changed from other designers. It's something that we always forget about, but it's a really nice leather notes, and you've got a touch of anise as well, which bring like something a bit like I don't know, like slightly like a cocktail, you know. I always love this fragrance on men. It's got like a very strong character without being too offensive. So I thought like it's got like a mysterious darkness. So I was like, okay, Brad Pitt, Armani code, why not? My fifth fragrance is Mick Jagger. So he's the singer of the Rolling Stones, and I do love the personality of Mick Jagger. He's really that eccentric man, very edgy, you know, things like that. He's really rock and roll, extravagant. I love his style. So I was really looking, I was like, oh my god, the fragrance he's gonna wear is gonna be like crazy. I was expecting like something very modern, like I don't know, like crazy. And no, very classy and elegant for Mick Jagger, as he's wearing Cuir de Russie from Chanel. And this is a leather note, so it means Russian leather in French. And it's a leather, but slightly powdery with a touch of iris. So I was like, okay, that's really, really classy. It's got, it's not rock and roll. It's a bit, of course, like, it's not the common leather, like compared to Armani Code just before. It's not as sharp, I would say. But yeah, iris leathery accords, which is beautiful. It's a bit like more like a poetic fragrance, I would say. So I was really. And then I've read also that Mick Jagger was a huge fan of another fragrance, and I thought we had to talk about it because I've seen this fragrance. Sorry, I'm just doing things on my note. I've seen this fragrance everywhere on celebrities, and it's Vetiver by Guerlain. If you know me a little bit, you follow my Instagram and everything, you know I'm a huge fan of any Vetiver type of scent. I always thought it's so elegant, so classy, without giving too much. And Vetiver from Guerlain is, for me, one of the best Vetiver in the market. It's a different type of Vetiver scent, so this one is a bit more sharper, as there's a lot of citrus in there as well. Even if there's tobacco or other thing, accord, like a bit more ambery, there's really that citrus note that gives that sharp effect to the Vetiver. And just love this fragrance, so really good choice. So talking about Vetiver, it's also appreciated by another singer, and it's just Paul McCartney, randomly, Paul McCartney. An iconic musician as well, so I thought it was interesting, like maybe Vetiver from Guerlain is like famous in the musician community, we never know. Talking about him, I don't really understand what he's doing with his featuring, like his music at the moment. I didn't really get it, but I would always love the Beatles music. It's really my kind of music. That's one of the reasons I came to London as well, like for the music and those, you know, Beatles, the Kings vibe, like things like that. And yeah, my favorite song will always stay Baby It's You. I don't know if you heard that before. Stay in the Vetiver scent, and another one that is wearing this Guerlain Vetiver. I told you, I've seen this one everywhere. is Harrison Ford, and I had to talk about him just because, I mean, who doesn't know Harrison Ford? Look at the role he had in cinema, like Indiana Jones, a lot of Star Wars, things like that, and all like the drama movie that he's been doing. I mean, it's iconic. And I'm a massive fan of Star Wars as well. It doesn't look like it, but I do love a Star Wars movie. And video games as well. I know I don't look like it, but I can definitely kill you at Star Wars Battlefront, trust me, I'm a queen. I was expecting something very condescending with a lot of attitude coming from Harrison Ford, and that Vetiver Galant definitely got that attitude, but it's a bit like more timeless classic. So again, I was like very surprised. Talking about Star Wars, I thought like I would add George Lucas to this top because he's the filmmaker of the Star Wars movie, and he's wearing a fragrance that is very uncommon, so I thought why not talking about it, and it's called Bijan for Men. And this scent is like a combination of millions of ingredients. Literally there's millions of ingredients. You can't even tell what it is, but that was really how was the scent in the 80s, so it's from the 80s. It was opulent, so there was like a mix of all the ingredients in the planet, and it gives you a juice that you don't know what it is, but it's got that really strong character. So it's also a vetiver scent. Again, it's very creative. There's a bit of honey, sage, amber, there's everything inside of it, and it's really classic from the 80s. It's like padded shoulders that you're wearing. It's like really opulent, which I mean, like with a creativity mind as George Lucas, like I was like, well, it does make sense, thing like that. Then the 9th, and we go back to the classics, which I saw I need to talk about him, Charlie Chaplin. So Charlie Chaplin, one of the reasons as well I've called my bunny Charlie. Yeah, so it's really an icon of the silent movies, and is one of the most important figures actually in the history of the film industry, really, which I always love. We say l'état moderne in France, modern times, maybe like in English, I don't know, but this movie, like really, like I've watched it so many times at school, after. So The Kid, I loved The Kid, but yeah, I was expecting something like a strong statement for his fragrances, and I was not disappointed at all because he's wearing Mixtuco from Guerlain, and I was like, oh yeah, I would definitely see him in that. And so it's got a touch of sensitivity again, but it's really like a spicy vetiver scent, citrusy, but it's got that really intense tray, like very vintage kind of style. There's some peach, some amber, again like this profusion of ingredient, and it shows all the savoir-faire of Guerlain, so I thought it was quite cool for Charlie Chaplin. Number 10 is again going back to modernity, as it Eddie Redmayne, and I really love this guy. I mean, he's really cute, first of all, and I've seen him. I talked to him actually, and he's a really nice guy. So I thought I had to talk about him. He's wearing Tom Ford Black Orchid, so really like thank you Eddie. I mean, it's beautiful. He's got really a touch of femininity inside, but it's this spicy notes, a bit oriental. He's bewitching, he's mysterious, he's charming, he's really intense in the trail. And I thought it was a perfect choice. So I was not expecting that bewitching coming from Eddie, but why not? And it's funny because the 11th person I wanted to talk about is Michael Jackson, and he's also wearing Tom Ford Black Orchid. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, what would you think like Michael Jackson would be wearing, really? Like, it's so strange and intriguing that you don't know what would be his DNA fragrance. It's really difficult to tell, so I didn't expect anything, and I'm like, why not? Yep. And then the 12th fragrance is Elvis Presley, and Elvis Presley was wearing Creed Royal Water, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it. It's a nice fragrance, it's beautiful, and I say, what can you expect? Like a royal fragrance for the king of rock and roll. My 13th fragrance is Patrick Swayze. I love Patrick Swayze just for Ghost and Dirty Dancing. Oh my god, don't leave Bibi in the corner. But yeah, he's wearing bûcheron for men. We always forget about bûcheron, so please men have a try because it's a really nice oriental classy scent. You can really feel that kind of like indie kind of vibe in there, and it's really classy and it's got like a timeless like vintage style. So yeah. The 14th person is Jude Law. So I was expecting like a fragrance, charming, modern fragrance. And because he's always like that, like when you watch The Holiday, for example, he's really charming, you know, like typical British, like a bit like more, I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, and he's wearing Paul Smith Extreme, which I was like, okay, that's exactly the type of scent I would see him inside, because it can be daytime, it can be nighttime, it's something that is crossover, really, you can use it for whatever. So it's got like a nutmeg, geranium and rosemary, so it's still quite fresh as well. So it's really like something that you can wear everywhere. So yeah, I thought it was adapted. Also read that Jude Law, one of his favorite fragrances is Acqua di Parma Colonia, which is one of my favorite cologne, if you know me, but more. And it's also a fragrance worn by David Bowie. So I was expecting something much more extravagant for him, like intriguing, but still very good taste. But yeah, I was expecting something more. In position, I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite actor, and it's Robert Redford. I don't know if you know him, but yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite actors. First of all, the look, classy, charming, elegant. The blonde, blue eyes. Pardon. I love him so much. My favorite film is The Sting with Paul Newman. I love Paul Newman too. And this movie, if you didn't see it, this is something you need to do today. Until the end of it, you don't know what's gonna happen. Trust me, you'll be surprised. It's really nicely done. The scenario is perfect, and the actor game, like, you're gonna love this movie. I mean, like, it's just a classic. So anyway, so Robert Redford is wearing Hermès, Jardin du Nil, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely that. You know, like Robert Redford is the kind of guy, is arriving in a room, you're looking at him, he doesn't have to talk, he's got that charisma, elegant but without talking, you know. And Hermès is really like that. You wear a Hermès fragrance, you don't have to shout, you're here, and we know you're here, if you know what I mean.
Paul Newman is Henry Gondel. Robert Redford is Johnny Hooker, a young grifter with plenty of moxie.
And the 17th iconic man I wanted to talk about is Clint Eastwood. So I was expecting something like Smell Like Tobacco. I don't know, maybe it's the movie The Good, the Bad and the Ugly that give me that vibe, you know, like probably smoking, and he's got something that's really opulent tobacco. Absolutely not, but I think it was a quite like nice choice from him. So he's wearing Davidoff Cool Water. I mean, who didn't wear as a man Davidoff Cool Water when they were young? Like, I think it was the first fragrance of a lot of persons. But yeah, I think it's got a lot of attitude, this fragrance. Like, it actually suit him, but I don't know, I kind of would have seen him in something like, yeah, tobacco, proper tobacco. 18 I want to talk about, we're gonna go definitely more modern with that, is Hugh Grant for his role in Bridget Jones. And About a Boy, that is a film that I really loved as well. And he's wearing Issey Miyake L'Odyssée, which I think is a timeless classic as designer. And it gives that serenity and freedom. This is really the two words I would use for Issey Miyake. So if you're looking for something like calming, soothing, with a DNA a bit more citrusy, and that gives really that like very peaceful fragrance, you know, like you're gonna love that. It's a woody aquatic fragrance and it really represents that vibe. Number 19 I want you to talk about is Jimmy Fallon. This is a weird choice, I know, but like I chose him only because the choice, well, he's not iconic, you know what I mean, but we know him. But just because the choice of the fragrance was a bit different, and also like sometimes I'm watching the Tonight Show because I always saw it's really like good mood type of American TV show. Like it's really entertaining, and they making like their old friend and having fun, and sometimes it's really like you know, it's really nice to look at the show. So to cheer you up, something like that. So he is wearing a very charismatic fragrance, as is John Varvatos. So really like leathery, ambery, lots of caramel as well. So he's got that sweetness, roundness to it as well, which is a kind of the leather that is definitely like more rounder, which I thought was really good for him because he's a humorist, he's a TV presenter as well, and he's got really like a strong charisma. So I thought it was like perfect from him. Like this fragrance really makes me think of a like proper leather jacket, you know, like a biker jacket, and I thought it was really flattering for him. And another person I've seen wearing this fragrance is Ashton Kutcher. Well, again, it's not iconic, but I thought it was nice to have him in there. Yeah, there was really like too many people, trust me. Like I wanted to do a mix between modernity and something a bit classic. If that was me, I would only pick the actor on the 20s, but you probably like would be bored about that. Tell me in the comment maybe. Overall, you can see that mainly all of this person like wore something that are quite relative to their personality, and if it's not, they're choosing something that is a timeless classic. So if you want a new fragrance you're not too sure about, or it's your first try to the fragrances world, you're not really sure, take a classic. Take something that is got like a not luxury potentially, but something like a good classic, like a Guerlain, Hermes, or I would say, yeah, Guerlain Vetiver. Apparently this is the one of the best sellers. And any vetiver scent, so it doesn't give you that very like strong trail, but it gives you a lot of personality and, you know, elegance, so that can be a good point. Tell me if you like those kind of video. I will probably do the same for the ladies soon, and we're just gonna go through my fragrance of the day. So my fragrance of the day today quickly is Le Jardin Retrouvé. I've done a video on them, and I'm so happy I got my hand on this fragrance. This is called Sandalwood Sacré. It's really like a vintage furniture woody scent, and it gave me that cocooning vibe, but a lot of personality as well. It's like a chypré from the 70s, really like a bit more like citrusy, sharp and sandalwood. And this is such a beautiful fragrance. I do have a discount code, which is Clémence LGR. I will put all the information in the description for you. And if you want to see more about the brands, you've got my video and also my Instagram that is full of the fragrance, because I really fall in love from them. So yeah, so that was my fragrance of the day, and I will see you soon. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, it really means a lot to me, and I will see you shortly. Bye now.